Okay, what are you saying, people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. As always, guys, if you are enjoying the content, let me know. Subscribe to the channel, drop a like, hit the bell. All that good stuff does really help out the channel, and of course keeps you in the loop as well, so you don't miss out on any content in the future. Make sure you, of course, check out the Elevating Traders Discord channel, completely free to join. You can check it out in the description, and of course in the chat as well. You can join discussions, chat with other traders, including myself. So if you are looking to get involved, make sure you go check it out. And of course, if you're looking to find out a little bit more about Elevating Traders, the firm itself, you can find information there as well. So if you're interested, make sure you go over and check that out. But guys, welcome back to another stream. As always, hope everyone is well. FX Wolf, good morning. Dark Sean, good morning. Yes, we'll go through UEM. We'll start with USD pairs, take a look at the DXY, go through some USD majors, gold and silver, and then we'll go through some requests. Karish, good morning. Hope you're well. Azina, hope I'm saying that correctly. Yes, Pound NZD, we'll take a look as well. Good morning. Hope you're doing good. Myself, what is up? Okay, yeah, I normally focus on swing trading because that's the trader I am. But if there is a particular pair you do want me to look at intraday, I will, of course, look at that intraday for you as well. So let me know if there is a pair you want me to look at intraday. And let me know the time frame as well, so I can be a bit more specific. But swing traders, I'm going to focus on swing setups. But of course, I can, of course, analyze lower time frames as well. Tashi, good morning. Hope you're well. Hey, what's up, Sculpey? Happy New Year, my man. Hope you are doing good. Yeah, Happy New Year. Hope you had a good New Year's celebration, or maybe kept it quiet at the old age. I would expect probably you to be calming it down these days. No more the party and all. Tom, what's up? Hope you're doing good. Welcome. Yes, it is New Year. Happy New Year to everyone as well on the stream. Second trading day of the year. What's up, Ahmed? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Gurish, welcome to the stream. Happy New Year. Hope you're doing good. Okay, so I'm gonna go through the USD pairs. Yeah, it happens, Dark Sean. It happens. 3 losses in a row. Three losses in a row is very. It's not really something to get too upset over, because 3 losses in a row can be pretty common, to be honest. Even if you have a very high win rate, you can still experience 3 losses in a row. So it's very important to manage your risk at the end of the day, because taking 3 losses in a row could come at any point, really. So yeah, always be prepared for that. But yeah, I mean, you take through those difficult times, because they're going to happen, throughout your trading journey. So if you can manage to deal with them well, it will definitely help you out in the long run. Pound NZD longs, nice. I was looking at Pound NZD yesterday, but didn't quite set up how I wanted it to. I'll go over it, of course. I haven't fighted a long time, I would imagine. Had only drink of the year. Nice. Well done, Sculpey. Over 100 profit, so I'm happy. Yeah, again, yeah, it's all about the balance of profit and loss. See if you're going to have a higher risk reward to make up for it. You're going to have a higher win rate. Appreciate it, Sculpey. Appreciate it. Good to hear that you had a relaxed Christmas, at least. Okay, so we'll go through USD pairs. So then I'll go through some of the requests you guys have. Excuse me. So yeah, dollar looking very, very bullish. Really strong kind of close yesterday, and overall it's going to be a pretty strong close on the weekly chart. And it does look like we are clearing out of this range, which tells me that we could be experiencing a lot more upside for USD over the next coming weeks, coming days, potentially months as well. The next big level I have for the dollar is this level up here at 113.379. So now that if we stay above 106, 107, which is this area here, I would expect that target up there to be our next big level that price does reach. So I'm expecting a lot more upside and could be seeing a really healthy trend throughout USD. Of course, fundamentals will have to play into it, but in terms of a technical analysis, it looks to me that we've had a really strong breakout. So I'm expecting this to continue back to the next key level, which is all up here at 113. So my bias for USD for the foreseeable future is definitely bullish, unless, of course, we were to bleed and come straight back inside the range. That will then completely invalidate that breakout bias. And at that point, we've got a really big fake out on our hands, and we're probably going to be speaking about some shorts. So we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, if we get to it. But for now, this is a confident break. It looks like we're going to get a nice close on the weekly chart. Of course, we still got 13 hours before this candle does close, but to me, it's looking pretty confident. So taking that information to the lower charts, what I'm looking at is now a break and retest of this consolidation. Nice consolidation the past few days. Of course, over Christmas, New Year's, the market wasn't moving much. Now we've kind of seen a bit of volume come back into the market, really nice breakout. And it has left behind a really healthy area for some buys. So I'm looking for this to happen over the next few days, a pullback for USD, retest of this area, and continuation. Now I'm just expecting higher highs and higher lows. I was looking for the bigger pullback to test. Let me just clear this out of the way. I was looking for the bigger pullback to test this area. It doesn't look likely anymore. The fact the market's made some more new highs. I mean, we still could see a bigger pullback there, so I'll still keep an eye out for it. But judging momentum, we're seeing some really healthy breakouts now. That was the interest rate earlier in December. Now we're seeing another big move as well. So it doesn't look like we're going to get that bigger pullback at this rate. So pullbacks to this area look good, and I'll be expecting more upside and higher lows to form. So taking then to Euro, excuse me, which I'm looking for pretty much the exact opposite. Again, you got a lovely consolidation here. Price stalled there for a few days. Lovely break to the downside. Again, it's literally the mirror image or opposite mirror image, if that makes sense, of the DXY. Really strong move down. Of course, that was when the interest rates came out. Consolidation over Christmas, New Year's. Then again, momentum's back into the market. Lovely follow through to the downside. So I'm expecting more of the same, correction, more continuation. It looks to me that if I expand to the weekly chart, that again, similar to the DXY, we're getting a really strong breakout of this support level. Again, strong close on the weekly chart. That's what I've been looking for. And now that with this momentum, it does look like Euro USD is probably going to keep falling. Next big level is down here at 0.9796. So Euro and dollar pretty much doing the inverse of each other, which is always good to see that they're in sync. And yeah, I'll be looking to short Euro, buy USD, and take advantage of opportunities in that direction. The only way I would change my bias longer term is if we were to break back inside their range, which again will give us a big fake out, and then we can speak about some longs afterwards. So either which way, there's opportunities, but at the moment, it's looking like a really big breakout. So in terms of opportunities, I would be looking at some pullbacks to retest that same range, and hopefully some shorts maybe early next week or sometime next week, and looking for entries in this area here for your next leg to the downside, at least back to the low. Again, difficult to try and look for the big swing in one go, because we're going to have pullbacks, maybe consolidation, maybe some counter trend moves. So a lot can happen in that time. But I would say at least the push back to the price swing low makes a load of sense. And you can always leave some positions to run. But that's really what I'm looking at for Euro USD. Very consistent with the lower highs. I do expect us to keep falling. Heading over to pound USD, which looks like it's done the exact same thing as well. Really strong breakout yesterday. A lot of bearish momentum in the markets, left behind some really key support, which of course is now flipped as resistance. So just like Euro, just like USD, healthy breakouts, would be looking at a pullback and a retest of those prior levels for some more downside. We're speaking a lot about this pattern here, and the lovely high over there, price broke structure, another lower high, another lower high. Again, yesterday, or no, that was a Monday, another low high Monday, really strong drop to the downside. So looking for that continuation and the next lower high in this bearish sequence. And again, another drop. I have pointed out some daily levels down here, which looks like price is working its way towards more or less around 1.23 or just above it. That is where you see the market falling. Now, the market is still pretty bearish. We could just keep falling to the downside, but in terms of a nice swing opportunity. This is kind of where you're looking for your pullbacks. At the moment, kind of middle of nowhere, really. So I wouldn't look to touch pound buys or sells. But I would be pretty bearish bias. I'm very bullish on USD. So against the USD majors, I'm always going to be favoring USD upside with that bias. And for a pair like pound USD, I'm expecting this to keep falling. So keep an eye on some pullbacks. Again, next week sometime could occur. Same with euro. Dollar CAD, same as always, really, with this one. Very, very bullish. At the moment, still kind of consolidating, which might be a good sign, because price is struggling to continue this bullish trend. Maybe we do have a bit of a sell-off, which is kind of what I'm looking for, because I want to look for that bigger pullback to take this one back to the upside. Again, if I expand to the higher time frames, very bullish stuff on the weekly chart. We broke through some really colossal resistance not long ago. As you can see, such a big breakout. Next big level for dollar CAD is up at these prices, 1.46. So I do still see a lot more upside for this one back to that area of resistance. So my plan is kind of find a decent pullback where I can place a long and just hold that trade for the remainder of that journey back to that next level, or at least to a point where I can trail stops. Maybe I don't take advantage of the full move, but still catch a decent chunk, and that would be back down in this area. Healthy pullback back into the 0.618. Of course, retesting the prior high and a level which we haven't come back to retest yet, so it's still relatively fresh. So if I can see a bigger pullback there for dollar CAD, that'll be fantastic. See a higher low in that 1.415 area. I'll be more than happy to find some longs and at least take it back to the same range. And then if all goes well, maybe I'm lucky and I do hold into a bigger move. But first things first, we need that bigger pullback anyway. At the moment, the market's just moving sideways. So I'm staying patient. As I have talked about in the lower time frames, some intraday setups. We could look to kind of play the range. We did call this bounce here last week. Price came into that area, nice bounce, nice push to the upside. If we were to get back there again, could see a repeat of that and some more upside. Again, it's just general range play, really, but it's with the understanding that, okay, the bigger move is still most likely to the upside. If I do catch it right, maybe I do catch the breakout as well, and I can leave some positions to run for that. But in terms of what I'm interested, it is solely a bigger pullback to that 1.415 region. Hopefully we can find some longs and get involved with some entries in that area. In terms of Aussie dollar, pretty bearish with this one as well. It's looking pretty corrective. It hasn't had the drop like pound or euro did yesterday. Euro and pound were pretty weak. Aussie was a little bit strong. I feel like Aussie and New Zealand dollar, they're kind of having a bit of a breather because these guys have been bearish for quite a while. All you need to do is look at pound Aussie and pound NZD, and those markets have been flying. So Aussie and New Zealand dollar have been both pretty weak. So maybe these guys are slowing down, finding a bit of strength before continuing. Now, I'm still very bearish with these guys as well. We've broken through some major structure, and I expect more lows to be taken out. We're very, very close to taking out this wick low here. I do think price is going to do that pretty soon. What would be nice, though, instead of kind of just solely corrective kind of break or structure like that, it would be nice if price was to suddenly push to the upside, give us another lower high, and then we can short it back down. That's kind of what I would be looking there for Aussie dollar. And as I've spoken about, I do really like this swing low here. We broke through, no prior retest. There's also a brief consolidation here on the 4-hour chart as well. It's around the 0.632, 634 region. I think it looks really good for some pullbacks, retests, and then a lot more downside. But of course, with that bullish bias I have in USD, even though Aussie dollar's come into some nice areas of support, I don't expect to see a massive bounce. Maybe we have a bigger pullback, but I do expect more follow through to the downside. So yeah, hopefully we do see some pullback at some point there with Aussie dollar. And of course, same thing with New Zealand dollar. Span to the daily chart, still expect more downside. I'm looking at this wick here being taken out by New Zealand dollar, more or less around 0.551. So still a bit of a way to go. So what would be nice is if price can have a bit of a pullback, find a lower high somewhere, and of course, get the continuation. And the areas where I would be looking for that lower high is at this area. Well, kind of got 3 areas I'm looking at. This is definitely my more preferred area, coming back to test nice 4-hour support. which of course will now be resistance, looking for the next lower high in this sequence here. So that would be my preferred area, but I might be asking a bit too much from the market for a pullback that big. So there are a couple of areas as well, this more minor level of support and this very brief pause in the market, which would be more like a consolidation, maybe like the 30 or 50-minute chart could be a nice area to look at. But first things first, we need a pullback anyway, because price at the moment is just slowly just rolling over, and it might just continue that. So yeah, that'll be a bit boring. But if you can have a bit move to the upside, that's great. So at least back to 0.572, preferably back to 0.58. But like I said, I might be asking a bit too much of a pullback there from New Zealand dollar, but we'll find out. Maybe we see it happen. But the plan is that if we do have a bit of a push, we're expecting low high to form and expecting more downside, because the goal is that we're expecting these lows to be taken out pretty soon, and probably the COVID lows as well to be taken out pretty soon too. In terms of gold, gold was pretty bullish yesterday. We had some upside, as you can see. That's the daily candle closure. Again, gold, I'm not really a fan of. I mean, I like the buys, but I spoke about this area here as a place where I would like to find some entries for some longs. Of course, we're not trading in that area, so there's not much for me to do. It looks like maybe price has had a bit of a fake of this low here. It's tried to break through a couple of times. It's failed. Now it's come through back above. More or less got equal highs up there. So you can pretty much say that at the moment, this is a bit of a range right now for gold. Hence why I wanted to focus my entries down here, because that'll be away from the noise. I can get a solid stop loss in. Of course, I'm not saying I'm guaranteed to make a profit on that trade, but at least I know that I'm in an extreme and in an area where if we do react, it could be onto a really nice move. So that's really where I wanted to go long, but yeah, it doesn't look like we're probably going to see that. So at the moment, I don't really have a clear-cut setup for gold right now. If we were to come up back to the high, I think that's still a nice place for a short. I wouldn't necessarily hold for the full swing, because again, I'm still pretty bullish on gold, so I do expect us to eventually break that resistance and come back to the highs here. So although, yes, it's a nice area, we've reacted very well, I wouldn't look to try and swing trades and holding those trades for too long at those areas, because I do think the bigger move is likely going to be to the upside at some point. So yeah, gold looking very bullish. Don't really have a setup for this one. So I'm kind of just waiting for more information, more price action before I do find a setup. I know I'm looking for buys, just don't have one that fits my criteria yet, or where the price action is looking clear enough for me. Silver might be the one that got away. I was looking for the double bottom here at the start of this week anyway. Did miss the entry. It occurred during my sleeping hours, unfortunately, and has seen some nice momentum. So I'm kind of seeing if it does come back down, or if it does start to form some bullish structure, then I'll look to try and hop in somewhere. But again, if I expand to the higher time frames for gold, the plan is still very much push, looking at this as a larger pullback for a bigger push to the upside back to the highs, and so on and so forth. So very bullish on gold, very bullish on silver. Silver looks a lot clearer to me, so more focused on this one. But yeah, naturally expecting more upside with these markets here. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with USD. Very, very bullish, but I'm still bullish on gold and silver despite my bullish bias on USD. And yeah, in terms of the markets which I'm interested in, dollar CAD looks very good. Pound USD looks good. Euro looks good as well. Not too sure about the Aussie New Zealand dollars. I want them to pull back, but they're very close. They might not see that bigger pullback, but we shall see how everything does develop. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with USD. Where was I? Ahmed, EU short opportunity. Yes, I agree. I do think there's more downside for those guys, but some pullbacks would be nice. Good morning, Roland. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Selling Aussie dollar and pound USD. Nice. Taking advantage of some USD strength there. Yeah, I do still see further downside for both of those currency pairs. Pound USD I like because there's a lot of momentum in the drop. So that really does look like a really nice opportunity should we get a pullback. It's also left behind a really nice clear-cut level of support which now will be acting as resistance as well. So a bigger pullback to that area, I think you can find some really tidy shorts. Of course, at the moment, there's a lot of momentum and we might just keep falling. So yeah, that could be the reality, but I do like this opportunity here. And I do definitely have a bearish bias on both of them. Hey, what's up, Big Bang? Happy New Year, my man. Hope you are doing good. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Pavanator, Happy New Year. Right back at you. Hope you're well. Profitable 2025, that is the attitude. Edwin, what is up? Blessed New Year to you as well. Appreciate it. Hope you are doing good. Yeah, volatile market this week, funny enough. I mean, it didn't move too much Monday, Tuesday, of course, prior to New Year's Day. But then tomorrow, market's moving. Today, looks like we're seeing signs of movement as well. Can't knock it. Follow the trend. What is up? I'm doing good. Hope you are well. Any chance for gold and shoulder on the 1 hour time frame? Okay, we'll take a look. So I was supposed to go through euro yen. Someone requested that earlier. So I'll go through that. And yeah, we'll take a look at gold, blessing, dolly, and sure we'll take a look at as well. So yeah, for euro yen, did you say you had a position for euro yen or you just wanted my opinion? Trying to find the message. Okay, what's my take on euro yen? Yeah, so euro yen is an interesting one. I'm still pretty bullish short term, and still pretty bearish longer term. You know, I'm still looking for sales up at this high. That's where I want to play some shorts, get a stop loss above the high, and take a big swing. Because I'm still looking at this lovely drop there in July/August. I'm still looking for the continuation of that, and I'm treating this as a correction of that same move for eventually a big sell to the downside. So that's very much my expectation there with euro yen longer term. In terms of the current price action, we are still forming these consistent higher lows. So of course you got the low down there, and then you got the successive higher lows as we continue. And we're coming into an area which, again, I would expect to see the market have a bit of a bounce from. So with euro yen, I do think we can see a bit of a reaction to the upside. I like the wick there in the 4-hour chart as well. This massive wick there, nice sign that price is kind of stabbed into that level, really rejected it, and now it's looking bullish. So I do think we can see a bit of an upside move there for euro yen. It has been a bigger pullback, or maybe a more aggressive pullback than expected. We had some big candles pushing down, and the yen pairs can be a bit scary sometimes. But to me, this is still in a healthy area to buy from. Like I said, as long as price is respecting structure, which is this swing low, which gave us the lovely swing to the upside to create those new highs, as long as we're respecting this bullish leg, I would still be expecting more upside for euro yen. If we were to go and break through that, or at least show some strong signs of about to break through, that's when I would start to rethink that bias. And if you do get a strong break of structure, then I would be looking at a lower high following that, and then a push back down to the low. So if that does happen, we'll start speaking more about the shorts and trying to see if we can take euro yen back to lows there. But at the moment in time, structure still bullish, pull back into a really healthy area for some buys. Really nice wick projections there on the 4-hour and the hourly chart. So yeah, I'll be looking at trying to take this one higher, at least back into that next zone just above us. So into this kind of consolidation here, or brief pause in the market. So if you can get a push into that area, I think that looks like a nice area for like a first take profit, or to go break even at least. And then if we do see some more follow through, fantastic. We might just work our way back to the high and maybe even further as well. So yeah, euro yen to me still looks like a bullish opportunity coming back into this area. I definitely wouldn't be looking to sell at least. This is definitely bullish territory, and we're already seeing some signs that the market is holding. So yeah, euro yen, I expect more upside, looking for a bigger push back to the high there. And then I'll start looking for some selling opportunities. But so far, I like euro yen, and I would still say that this is a nice bullish opportunity. In terms of gold on the hourly time frame, let me see if I can see the head and shoulder you're talking about. Okay, I think I see it. You're talking about the left shoulder here, the head over there, and the right shoulder there. Possibly a bit of a stretch, in my opinion. Not the clearest one in the world. Again, if you're looking at a textbook head and shoulder pattern, it forms at the top or bottom of a trend if you're looking at inverse head and shoulder. So this is kind of what you'd be looking for as a really nice head and shoulder pattern. Of course, your left, your head, and your right shoulder. This would be your neckline, and that is your kind of break of the neckline there. So this is kind of your textbook, kind of pristine example of what a head and shoulder pattern should represent because it's a reversal pattern. It indicates that a trend is reversing to go in the opposite direction. This one, unless you're talking about a different head and shoulder pattern, let me know. This one just looks kind of awkward. But yeah, it's the same principle coming back into resistance there. We could respect it and see a move down. So yes, we'll come into resistance where we could see a push. But again, every kind of situation in the market is unique. There are some better head and shoulder pattern than others. I wouldn't say this is the best one I'll be looking at. Again, let me know if you're looking at a different head and shoulder pattern. But yeah, this one doesn't give me a load of confidence, I must say. But what I would say though is if we do start breaking back below support again, which will be the neckline of the pattern, so price will start to break back below support again. I would say some shorts afterwards will look good. So kind of like a retest of the neckline or just a natural lower high. Because at that point, the market's keeping up with these lower highs, one over there, second, third potentially. And of course, if you do get that follow through, then you're kind of expecting another one, another drop to the downside. So I would like that. But of course, we're a long, long way away from forming something like that. But yeah, it's a nice area of resistance. Could see a reaction, but I wouldn't say it's the best. I wouldn't say it's the best head and shoulder pattern. Okay, 30-minute at current price action. Okay, okay, I can see the head and shoulder you're talking about now. So the left, yeah. So this is a much better one. This is a much better one. That's a horrendous drawing. Left head and the right shoulder. So yeah, that's a much better head and shoulder pattern because we've got at least a bit of a trend forming. It looks like we're reversing that, and of course, this will be your neckline here. So yeah, I can definitely get on board with that head and shoulder. Again, if I was looking to trade this, just because we haven't really formed a very great right shoulder right now, I'd like price to come a little bit deeper into that right shoulder before breaking through. But if it does just break through the neckline like so, then I'll be looking at the pullbacks and lower highs and possibly the retest of the neckline for the shorts. But yeah, I like this pattern because again, healthy trend, market looking like it's reversing that, and of course, breaking the neckline will be breaking structure as well. So yeah, this is a much better example of a head and shoulder pattern. So yeah, I would agree. And yeah, if you can break through, also a nice candle close down the 4-hour chart too. There's definitely a lot more room to the downside there with gold, maybe back to this area here at least. But yeah, I don't mind that one. Looks a lot better. All right, take care, Sculpey. Have a good one, man. We'll catch you next week, hopefully. Have a good weekend. Um, okay, I'll take a look at pound NSD as well, Ahmed. No worries. I'll go through dollar yen first, and then I'll go through pound NZD, and then we'll go through the rest of the yen pairs. Okay, so USD JPY. Okay, so USD JPY is still a pair which I really like. I like the market structure and the higher time frames. I got a lot of boxes ticked, a lot of confluences in my favor with a uh, bullish bias. I'm looking for us to push back to the highs here at 161.273. So that's really my plan, so to speak. And I just need to wait for a good pullback to trade it. And the area I'm looking at is, if I can remove that, is this consolidation here. This was just before we had the interest rates for yen, I believe, or was it USD? No, it was USD. Then we had the yen, which gave us the second kick. But yeah, I like this area. Lines up very well with 50. As we can see, 50 just just below it. If you can go and tag the 50, tag that zone, this looks like a really healthy area for the next high low, because we had, of course, one all the way back over here, create a new high. And this is our next high low. Of course, this is our new higher high. And then I'm looking for the next one in that sequence. So just looking to follow structure, catch the high low, and keep the trend going. Of course, our next major high would be this high up at 161, 200, 300. And that is really where I want to take the trade to. But of course, you know, that is definitely a high to keep an eye out for, and look to lock in some profit. Makes a lot of sense. So yeah, USD is still very bullish. I did say that if we don't get that bigger pullback, and we might just break to the upside, which I feel like is a good possibility at this point in time, especially it being a USD market, a USD pair. I do like the opportunity for breaking retest of the high. Should we see a strong break of this area, some pullbacks, I do like that as an opportunity to take price higher as well, because the market is still showing a lot of momentum. You know, a really strong move there. I know the market is moving sideways, but to me, it looks like the market is just having a breather. It's either going to do one or two things, most likely. Either just keep up momentum, break the high, and continue, or it's going to have a bit of a breather, a bit of a dip to the downside, collect some more buys, and then we're going to see the next bull wave. That's most likely what price is going to do. Of course, we could reverse as well. That's still a possibility. But if we don't get the deeper pullback, then the next best opportunity is the strong break of the high, waiting for some retest and following the momentum afterwards. And hopefully you can see something like this on the next breakout. But yeah, dollar yen very bullish, expecting more upsides, and eventually we could be trading at these prices here. So that's really where I'm expecting to take dollar yen towards. In terms of pound NZD, so a couple people talked about getting into some longs with this one. So I've been eyeing up some longs with this one as well this week. Hasn't really quite played out to how I wanted it to for me to take the trade. I said I was looking for longs if we could come back, retest this low, spike into the 50, which I believe we did, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, we did. We did go and hit that 50. So I was looking for price to break back above this level of support. Hasn't quite done that yet. So with pound NZD, the idea is that there is still a lot of momentum in the market. The only thing I don't like about pound NZD is that we've taken out some major highs. So it does give me the impression that at some point I do expect a bigger pullback. Of course, when will it happen? I have no idea. We do not have a crystal ball. But you know, in FX, more often than not, when we do take out major highs in the daily, weekly, monthly charts, which we have done, you do expect the market to have a bit of a dip at some point. But the beauty of it is, if there is a trend with a lot of momentum, that could still go on for another 100, 200, 300 plus pips before that bigger pullback does happen. So my thinking is with pound NZD, I know at some point the market is definitely going to bleed and start to see a bit of a trend heading down. But until this bullish structure shows signs of that, I'm still going to attack the buys. So I did say I was looking for a retest of this area and a bounce there, which we have seen, but we're just not back above resistance there. So if anything, we might even use that to potentially see some downside. So we'll be a bit wary of that with pound NZD. But I like the opportunity. Lovely swing low down there. Lovely swing high. A lot of momentum. Now the idea is that we're looking for the next swing low to take it back up again. So if it does start getting back above resistance again, that would be my indication that the buys are looking good. I would at least expect to push back to the high, and of course potentially a lot further. I'll be looking to trail stops with this one just to see how far we can take price. But we need to get back above that level for me to be looking to buy. If not, we could actually see another push lower. There was surprisingly a lot of momentum in this bearish leg. So I don't know, potentially we could still see more continuation of that. So I do want to see price get back above 2.216 for some longs there for pound NZD. I'm definitely very bullish, but I didn't get the opportunity I was looking for. Ahmed, you said you were looking to long pound NZD at 2.20571 and 2.20571. Is that just below that wick? Just missed it. Maybe we'll retest the possible. Okay, yeah, that is pretty unfortunate. But yeah, I have the same bias as well. As come back to retest the high there too. So I do think the longs look good. And should we get back above that level, I do think that'll be the sign that says, okay, the buyers are back in control, most likely, and we'll continue to the upside as well. But yeah, I'm pretty bullish on pound NZD. The idea is that we're looking for another higher low. As long as we can keep up the structure, this looks like a big bull flag to me, and we can see the correction and the continuation of that. So yeah, very bullish on pound NZD. Maybe we do come back and retest it. Again, trading is always a waiting game. You plan an opportunity, you plan a trade, and then you wait for the market to set up like that. Sometimes it will, sometimes it doesn't. And when it does, make sure you're there to take the trade. If it's not, then you move on to the next trade. Of course, a lot easier said than done, but that is trading in a nutshell. Trading view looks a bit different from MT5. Yeah, it is. Trading view is very good in terms of charting, in terms of exploring charts, marking up charts, analysis. Very, very good, very, very helpful. Has so many tools. I barely use a third of everything that Trading View has to offer, but it's very good for analysis and just kind of looking at the chart as a whole. MetaTrader MT5 is not too bad. It's a bit better than MT4, but it's just really good for execution, in my eyes anyway. Okay, I'll go through Euro USD. I'll go for Euro Aussie, and then I'll go through the rest of the yen pairs because I said I was going to do that. So we'll go through the yen pairs and talk yen. Wayne, what is up? Hope you're well. I sure go. Haven't seen you on the live for a while. Yeah, it's not too bad. It's been a little bit slow over the festive periods. I'm currently in a Euro CHF position at the moment, which is going okay. We have seen a bit of downside, but the market hasn't really gone my way yet. So I'm in a little bit of profit. I did enter this trade yesterday, so hopefully I can see a bit of a swing. The idea is I'm still looking to take advantage of the overall trend. I know that with Euro CHF and a lot of the CHF markets, the predominant trend is bearish. The market on the monthly, weekly, daily, 4-hour chart is pointing down. So the idea is that I'm still looking for more lower highs and looking to try and catch the next one. And I did get my confirmations in that area, trying to anticipate the next lower high forming for another push back into this area. You can see the market's been pretty consistent with these lows. So I'm trying to see if I can catch one of my own, another push to the downside. So yeah, I'm very bearish on Euro CHF. Hopped into a trade yesterday. Like I said, a little bit of profit. It's going okay, but it's finding some support here in the lower time frame. So hopefully that can break and really push on. I'll look to hold it over the weekend. Look to try and see if I can really swing this one. But that's the only trade I'm in at the moment. Actually, there was a trade on New Zealand CHF, but I didn't take it because I'm still in Euro CHF. So it would be like a direct correlation between the two pairs. And the only way I would take it is if my my Euro CHF trade was break even. But a nice double top here, respecting that level. Really strong bearish engulfing candle, looking to try and anticipate the next lower high. So one over there, second over there, third, and looking for the fourth. Lovely pullback into the 50, I believe. Yeah, and retesting price support on the left here, turn resistance. So I was actually looking to trade New Zealand CHF this week as well. It was the pair on my weekly analysis, but because I hopped into Euro CHF, I'm not going to hop into New Zealand CHF as well because I'm pretty much doubling the risk on the same idea. So if I can get Euro CHF to break even and New Zealand CHF still looks valid, still give me a signal, I'll look to hop in and then get involved. But yeah, that would have been a trade. If I wasn't in Euro CHF, I would have taken this one. But yeah, that's the only trade I'm in at the moment. Chelsea. Okay, let me go for Euro USD and Euro Aussie, then I'll go through the yen pairs. So yeah, Euro USD, as we spoke about, looking very bearish. I do think there's a lot more downside for this one. And yeah, I think we could see a really big breakout for Euro USD in a very bearish 2025. So I'm excited. Hopefully this momentum can continue. We don't break back inside this weekly range. So as you can see, There's our ranging market, equal highs, equal lows. It looks like we're breaking out. So in my book, we could be seeing a very big drop for 2025 back to 0.9697. So as a swing trader, I'm just going to be focused on shorts for now, really. Sure, there might be some counter trend buys here and there, but unless it looks very good, I think I might just exclusively just stick with the shorts here of Euro USD until proven otherwise, until something changes, of course. But yeah, for now, Euro is still putting the lower highs in very well. I said a retest of this range looks good. That could set up sometime next week. So keep an eye on 1.035 here, get a retest, look for some lower highs. Then yeah, you've got a nice clean move back to the low and a possibility trying to stretch trade some more. Again, we haven't been at these prices for a while, so looking left is a little bit difficult. Last time we were trading at these prices was back in November 2022. So yeah, a bit of a while ago. So yeah, I think just looking at maybe fib extension targets or maybe round numbers or just trading stops makes the most sense, really, rather than trying to look to the left and look for some targets. But of course, I'm sure you guys, have an idea of how you want to take your profits. But yeah, in terms of analysis, that is really what I'm expecting for Euro. Okay, I'll go for Euro Aussie and then I'll go through the yen pairs. So yeah, Euro Aussie, yeah, really big bearish day yesterday. Really strong drop. I think Euro was very weak, pound was very weak as well, but I think Aussie, New Zealand were a little bit strong. They're kind of having a bit of a retracement at the moment. But yeah, really strong drop. I said I wasn't really a big fan of this one, but it is coming back into some daily support now where we can have a bit of a reaction. Now, I wouldn't expect anything too crazy from here, judging how we pulled back. This is not a healthy pullback at all, especially looking at how the market's trended the past few days. This is not what you want to see. You want to see impulsive movements, slow corrective movements, impulsive movements, slow corrective movements, so on and so forth. That is a sign of a healthy trend. This is very corrective on the way up and now very impulsive on the way down. And like FX Wolf states, it could be the sign of a bit of a trend change. So yeah, I'm definitely not a fan of taking Euro Aussie to the upside. And to be honest, I'm not a fan of the market at all because really it's just a very flat market, to be honest. Um, equal highs, equal lows. The market's been flat for about 2 years now, or over 2 years. So truthfully, I'm not really interested in Euro Aussie to trade it myself. If the pullback was a bit more corrective, there could have been some nice buys there. But yeah, I think going forward, we might see something like this form, another drop. So there might be a nice little trade like this that forms over the next few days. So maybe keep an eye out for that. But we need more information, more candlesticks. I wouldn't say there's a clear opportunity to trade yet, at least according to my analysis. But if you can see a bit of a pause, another strong drop, could look for the retest and the continuation of that. So that could be something to look at over the next few days. But yeah, I wouldn't be looking at buys. Does look like trend is changing, at least for the short term anyway. And we might be seeing a bit more follow through. Anyway, we'll go through some of the yen pairs and I'll take a look at Aussie CAD as well, Azina. What's up? More welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. So yeah, as I said with the yen pairs, still short term bullish, but I'm looking for the longer term sells. So for Euro yen's case, as I mentioned, I'm looking for the shorts at that high for a big move down. Great levels up there, 166.653. The idea is that I'm looking for impulse, correction, impulse. Just like we saw with the Euro Aussie example we just looked at, strong move down, looking for a bit of a pause, and then the continuation. This is just it in a massive kind of scale on the daily chart. There's our correction, there's our impulse, and now I'm looking for price to continue. But first, I want to see a push back to the high there, and that's when I want to find my opportunities to short, especially as a swing trade where I can hold on to that and just let the market do its thing. But at this moment in time, I do like the buys here because we're coming back into a bullish area of confluence. You can see the high lows are marked on the chart. I'm looking at this as being the next high low in this sequence. We come back into a nice range here, brief consolidation, strong move to the upside, a lot of momentum. Now it looks like prices come back to retest that same area or possibly the next high low. The only way I would change that bias if price was to break structure, which is this low here, So if price was to keep falling, let's say, and break the low, then yeah, that would change my bias. I'd look for a lower high afterwards, and then some more shorts back into this low here. But that is not the situation at this moment in time. We're holding on very well. If I drop to the hourly chart, we have a really nice wick there, a lot of consolidation. Price can break that to the upside. I do start to expect a bit of a trend to form here. So yeah, pretty bullish on euro yen still looking for more upside. This really is the trade I'm after, the big sell at the high, but I have to stay patient because we're still a long way away from that. But yeah, I'm looking for some buys to then sell it. And that's the story with pound yen as well. However, pound yen, I don't think is looking as good of a buy at the moment. I mean, pound yen hasn't broken structure technically yet, which is this low. So again, in pound yen's case, if we were to go and break through the low here, that would make me bearish in terms of the more immediate price action, because similar to euro yen, we've been very consistent with these higher lows. So the plan was to see another one. I was expecting it to form here yesterday, but we didn't get that strong drop to the downside. Again, it hasn't broke structure yet, but if we do go and break structure like this, then yeah, that would make me pretty bearish in pound. And then I'll be looking at something like that for a drop to the low. So really the focus is on the current level of support we're trading at. Because if we can hold, there is definitely room for upside. If we break through, then I'll be looking at the shorts a lot more quicker, because I was originally and still am looking for shorts at the double top there, looking for a strong move into the high reaction, then the big sell. Again, if I go to the daily chart, same as your yen, there's your impulse. This is the correction I'm looking at. Want to take a trade at the high so I can swing this to the lows. Again, very optimistic, but I know if that trade plays out, I could be looking at a very big risk reward. So the risk is definitely worth the reward. But like I said, if we do break structure here, this doesn't really become a possibility anymore, or most likely not anyway. Then you're looking at some pullbacks and some more shorts from there. So keep an eye on that low. I wouldn't say the buys look fantastic right now. I think if you're looking to buy a yen pair, euro yen looks really good. Pound yen, not so much. If it does break the low, then yeah, I'll be looking at some more downside rather than up there. In terms of CAD yen, I still like the buys with this one. We've had a nice reaction yesterday. Haven't really gone anywhere though. So the market's had a few reactions at this level. I still want to see if it can come a little bit deeper, either have a deeper test of this zone or come even deeper than that and test this area. Either which way, I'm looking at another higher low forming for CAD yen. Had a lovely double bottom over there, which gave us our first low, and then we've got this higher low here. Again, the goal was to find the next high low after that. And these are the two areas where I said buys look good. And the plan is to take it back to the high here on the left. And again, similar to euro yen, similar to pound yen, looking for a push back into that same level. For then some longer term shorts for a move back down. Same idea, big impulse there. Looking at this as the correction. And again, looking to take that lower. So of course, with the yen pairs, they're all very correlated, so they do the exact same thing, 90% of the time. But with that information, you're kind of looking to pick the best one. So if they do the same thing all the time, or most of the time anyway, you pick the better trade with the better risk reward or the best entry, and you just focus, you put your eggs in that basket. So yeah, CAD yen, I like the opportunity here as well, but I'm more focused on the sells. But yeah, looking at pullback and then some more upside. In terms of Aussie yen and New Zealand yen, I feel like these guys are still in consolidation. Yeah, so until they kind of break out of this range, that's not what I meant to do. Until they kind of break out of this range, I don't really see much with Aussie yen. I mean, what I am looking at is another high low forming here. So, of course, you got the original high low there. Then you got a second one there. I'm looking at this as a third high low in this sequence for another push to the upside. That is my thought process with Aussie yen. In terms of a solid trade, to take advantage of that move, I want to see price start to break structure again to the upside. Then we can start to use this as support and start to find some higher lows to take advantage of. Looks like we're slowly putting in some higher lows, but I need some higher highs too. And if you can break out the range, find the next one, could be a lovely trade, taking it back to the high there. So I do like that aspect there of Aussie yen, but it needs time to develop. If it stays within the range, then it doesn't become a good opportunity. And then in terms of New Zealand yen, which is pretty much the same situation as we can see here. So you got the equal, did it again. We've got the equal highs here. You got the equal lows there. Overall market moving very sideways, but also showing us signs that a high low is potentially forming here, because we're getting a lot of rejection at these lows. So again, we had one over there, second over there, third over here. We're anticipating for, again, another push to the upside, where most likely will probably come top the high and then most likely have a big sell-off. Same idea with the other yen pairs, big impulse to the downside, correction of that move, shorts at the high, move down. Excuse the drawing, I know it's horrendous, but I'm pretty sure you guys get the point there. So again, with New Zealand yen in terms of nice opportunity here, I would wait for the break of the high and then look for some pullbacks afterwards. This way, we're kind of away from the noise, because this is where you don't really want to try and force any entries, because you're just going to be caught in chop and messiness. If you can wait for price to break the highs, that shows intent. It shows that momentum's back in the market. Then our job is to simply follow that momentum. And if you can find the retest, that's a great way to get involved. And then, of course, we've got CHF JPY, which did come back to a nice area. And looks like it's just about respecting it. But overall, not looking too clean. If we can keep this up, then I do like the opportunity of a move higher back to this area here. Now, CHF JPY is definitely not my favorite yen pair at this moment in time, because I'm not so keen about the long-term short. I mean, I do expect it to eventually happen, but it doesn't tick my boxes as well as, let's say, pound yen or euro yen. But again, I'm still looking for a push back to that area. Then we'll see what happens. Maybe you do get the sell, maybe price breaks and pushes the high there. But again, with CHF JPY, short-term bullish, and then, yeah, much longer-term bearish. But I probably won't be ending up trading this one. My favorite yen pairs at the moment is dollar yen, CAD yen, pound, and euro yen. So I'll keep an eye on those. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the yen pairs. I do think we could probably still see some more upsides, but I am looking at that big long for 2025 at some point. If you guys are enjoying the stream, by the way, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. And of course, hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. I really do appreciate everyone who has liked the stream so far, subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. I'll go through Aussie CAD, because that was requested earlier. And I need to go over it so I don't forget. Shadrach currently long from 161.745 in euro yen. Okay, I'll have a look at that. Kingsley, what is up? Hope you're doing good. Appreciate it, my man. Compliments of the year right back at you. Hope you do have a great 2025. And of course, that goes to everyone on the stream as well. Yes, we will go through USDZAR, EUROZAR, New Zealand CAD coming right up. I'll just go through Aussie CAD and Euro Yen. First, Dark on GJ 5-minute setup. Great. Okay, I'll take a look at GJ in the 5 as well. Aussie CHF, Alvin, yes, I will look at that as well for you. All right, have a good lunch, more. Catch you in a jiffy. So yeah, let me go through Aussie CAD quickly, because I know I'll forget about that one. So yeah, Aussie CAD, I actually don't mind this. I mean, New Zealand CAD looks a lot better. And at some point during the stream, I'll go through New Zealand CAD as well. But because New Zealand CAD and Aussie CAD are pretty much the same market, they do have like a 90% correlation, or probably even higher than that, actually. So because they're so alike, I analyze both of them and I pick the better one. And at the moment, New Zealand CAD looks a lot better, at least according to my rules. And I'll go over why in a moment. But for New Zealand CAD, I'm still pretty bearish as well. I do think price is forming another major lower high like it's done previously. So if that is the case, then I do expect us to eventually head back to the lows here. So longer term, very bullish bias on Aussie CAD. We've broken through a, let me get rid of that. We've broken through a long-term standing bullish trend line, which is connecting these higher lows. So that's been put to bed as well. So I do expect us to keep trending lower. But we need to see a lower high if we're going to get short. So let me drop to the 4-hour. You can see how consistent the market's been with these lower highs. Although we've been very corrective, the market has been very consistent with them. So lower high 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the idea is that we're looking to try and catch number 7. And again, expecting the same to continue of the lower high and drop to the downside. If I can whip out descending channel, you can see how proportional the market has been. Lovely equal highs there, lovely equal lows there. And if you can see a pullback, maybe retest this range here as well. That looks like a nice area of confidence to me for some shorts. So something like this, test that area, shorts in there, catch the next lower high. Of course, looking for the next swing to the downside. And maybe if we're lucky, that could be the swing that does really give us the momentum to break out. Because at the moment, we are still very corrective here. So I think a breakout to the downside is not looking pretty likely at the moment in time. Probably more likely to see a push up than a push down, or a big one at least. So if you can get that bigger pullback, 0.90605 looks really attractive. You're testing that consolidation zone, testing the high end of the channel, and hopefully we can see some nice confirmation to short, at least back to the low, of course. Doesn't always have to be the home run, but it's nice to know that we're in the direction of the larger trend. So if everything goes well, we can always leave some positions to run. But yeah, Aussie CAD, I like the shorts. That's a nice area of confidence. I would keep a close eye on that area, maybe some stops above the high, and push back to the low looks good. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with Aussie CAD. In terms of Euro Yen, you said you've got a long position at 161.745. 161.745. Okay, somewhere around here. Where's your stop loss for that position, Shadrach? I'd imagine either underneath the wick here or underneath the wick there in terms of a stop loss. But overall, I'm pretty bullish on Euro Yen, and this looks like a nice long for Euro Yen, at least in terms of the location. I like the big wick there. Price has kind of pierced through the zone, tried to break through, but of course, inevitably failed. And now expecting price to turn around. I shouldn't use the word inevitably because that means like it's guaranteed, and nothing's guaranteed in the markets. Most likely, there we go. Place inevitably most likely. So yeah, I do think we can see a move to the upside there for Euro Yen, and it's in a healthy area, really strong rejection. So if your stop loss is below there, you give yourself a lot of room. If price was to go and break through that, then yeah, you will stop out. But at that point, you're probably not expecting the move to happen anyway. So if you do go and break structure, that'll flip the bias, and then we can start speaking about some shorts. And if you can catch that one well, you're looking to make back that loss and then some, because we're expecting it to at least come back to the lows there. So yeah, really nice place for a long. And I do expect to see a bounce. And so far, we're doing a pretty good job at holding that level. Just need to see momentum come in, which maybe might come in New York session or maybe at some point next week. Okay, so I'll go through the ZAR pairs for Kingsley. And we'll take a look at New Zealand CAD whilst they're at it. Then we'll go for GJ on the 5 and Aussie CHF as well. Okay, Samuel, we'll take a look at Dollar Yen 2, no problem. Hey, what's up, Ben? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Hey, yeah, well done. Yeah, 26.65. We did see that move. It was a nice little pop there from gold. Yeah, I'm still not the biggest fan of gold's price action, but hey, if you get a good read of the price and it's ticking your boxes, then trade away, find that position. In terms of gold, I'm still looking for the buys longer term, and we'll go through it again shortly. But yeah, I don't really have that set up just yet, unfortunately, so I'm waiting on the sidelines for that. Anyway, let's go through some of the ZAR pairs. So USD ZAR, are we still trading that same area? So yeah, we haven't really done much since we last spoke, I believe. I feel like we're still in that same area where the lower high could form. One over there, second, third, fourth, or joint third, you could say. And then there's potentially another one there as well. So this is a nice place for some downside. But at the same time, I do think the bigger moves to the upside, because if I look at the higher time frames, we're still seeing higher highs and higher lows. I do expect eventually us to make a push back to the high there. So of course, if this trend line doesn't hold and we break through, then you have a pretty high chance of us just going back to the high and probably taking that high out as well. So I think this is still a nice area for a short. I did suggest last week, I believe, the last time we looked at it, that a nice double top here could look good for some sells. And we did get that. However, price hasn't really got going yet. So I would still keep an eye for some shorts here. The beauty of shorting USDR is that you can get that positive swap, which is quite decent. It's an exotic currency. The swap costs quite a lot. If you're holding onto some buys, I know that's going to eat into your profits big time. But at the same time, if you're selling, even if you catch a break even, but you held it over a few days, it could be a nice little profit there actually if USDR. But yeah, I'd still like the shorts. There's still a nice area for a short. Like I said, the trend is still to the upside, so I do expect it to break at some point. Even if you do catch a nice reaction, I would expect a higher low to form, just like it's been forming here. 1, 2, 3, another one, and then we'll probably get the bigger push. So I'm not expecting this to happen, although it could. Expecting more of just a reaction and then maybe a higher low on the retest of some structure. And then we can start focusing on some buys again. Because at the moment, this is seller's territory. You don't want to be looking for buys here. If you're waiting for a buy, you're looking for buys, either wait for the bigger pullback or wait for us to break out and look for some opportunities afterwards. You don't want to be buying into trend lines like that or resistance. Yes, sometimes it will break and it will work out, but it's just not an effective place to buy. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with USDs in terms of Euros are, which I believe is the second pair. Yeah, Euros are. So in terms of Euros are, last time we spoke, we were talking about some buys at this area here. Looks like it's sort of holding. Yeah, I mean, we did break through. Now we're breaking back above, so it hasn't been a clean break and retest, but effectively the market is still holding that area. Again, the plan is similar to USDs. I do think longer term, probably going to see a big push to the upside at some point, because again, that is definitely where the trend is headed towards. But if I do whip out this trend line, I think we can at least see a push back into this area. Maybe we do sell off from there, maybe we break out, but that's kind of where I expect price to push onto. So I do expect a lot more upside there with USDs Euros are, sorry. And I feel like that's a nice entry. Stop loss below the low, like that. Entry's there if you want to enter on the 4-hour chart, and can at least have a first target back at the high. And then if you leave some positions to run, probably take it back to 20, where we've got that big weekly zone here as well. But yeah, I do like the buys here. It looks like it's holding onto that level. Do expect to see a reaction, and I would expect us to come back into that higher time frame zone, where again we'll reinvestigate, see if the market is still bullish. Maybe we can talk about some sells, but at the moment I do see USDs are pushing to the upside. Then in terms of New Zealand CAD, which I did mention earlier, is something I prefer to Aussie CAD, and like I said, they correlate a lot. So when I'm looking at Aussie CAD, I tend to look at New Zealand CAD and vice versa, and just see which is the better currency pair to trade. Again, if I go to the weekly chart overall, it does look like the market is just steadily moving to the downside here. So I do expect us to eventually come back to the low and possibly this low here as well. Yeah, that could be the case there with New Zealand CAD. So overall, I still do expect us to see a lot more downside here. And the reason why I like it a lot more than Aussie CAD is because we've broken through some key lows. We broke through this daily swing low, and we broke through this daily swing low here as well. So that's a clear sign to me that says, okay, we're moving with some intent. Bullish structure on the daily chart is no longer holding. If price was going to reverse and see a push to the upside, we should have respected these lows, or most likely should have. The fact that we've broken through is a sign that the bears are now taking control, and we can probably see more downside after that. So my plan is for New Zealand CAD, because again, similar to Aussie CAD, we are quite corrective in this part now. So I would be looking for a move to the upside, but purely as retracement. I'm not interested in buying it up. I just want to see it move up so I can sell it back down again. And of course, if we're looking at these lower highs, you've got a lovely one over there, second over there, third over there. Looking for the fourth, and that's the one we want to short. If I could bring out the channel tool, again, something like that, connecting the lows up. And of course, we've got some nice brief consolidation in this area, similar to the Aussie CAD setup. looking for the lower high, and then a short from there. But again, as you can see, it looks almost identical to Aussie CAD in terms of the setup. If I quickly go to Aussie CAD, it's pretty much the exact same concept of a pullback, upper end of the channel, respect the high, look for the next lower high, short it back into the low, and of course, you're looking for the drop. New Zealand CAD, pretty much the same thing as well. Push back into the high end of the zone, retest some consolidation whilst at it, then we're looking for the drop. But because we've taken out some big lows here, I would much rather trade this opportunity. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with New Zealand CAD as well. Want to see a bit of a pullback. Not really interested in the buys. I mean, you can try and anticipate the buys there. It makes sense, but I'd rather just stick with the trend, stick with market structure, which for me is still pretty bearish. So that is where my focus lies. But yeah, pretty bearish there. New Zealand CAD, expecting a lot more downside for this one. Okay, so I'll go through GJ in the 5-minute chart for Darkshon. I mean, it's probably been about 20 minutes since you requested that, so that's 4 new candles, but we'll take a look at the 5-minute for you. And we'll go through Aussie CHF for Alvin as well. You're in a long position. Okay, we'll go through that too. Dolly Yen, we'll take a look as well. Ben, already said good morning to you, didn't I? But we'll take a look at gold too. Jay Smith, what is up? Hope you're well. Good morning, good morning. NAS 100, yes, we will go to, we'll go through a bunch of indices. We'll go through a bunch of indices. I haven't actually taken a look at the indices yet, so we'll go through a bunch of them. Want to learn how fast you trade. What do you mean by that? How fast you trade? You see a setup really fast. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, it just takes a lot of practice. When you have a lot of chart hours, it just makes everything a lot easier, really. But what I would suggest, if you want to see a setup fast, back test extensively. I think that's a really good way to speed up your journey, because if you're trading, you can only learn as quickly as the new candles fall. But back testing, you've got access to a heap of data, and you can back test till your eyes fall out, really, and that will give you the kind of the pattern recognition of the setups you want to trade. So yeah, back testing is a good way to speed that up. Of course, back testing doesn't take into account emotion and all that stuff, but in terms of just exclusively looking for chart patterns and trades you're looking to take, back testing is a great way to really speed that up and just do a lot of it. Test as many trades as possible. The more you test, the more data you collect, the better off you will be for it. So, really go into that. No problem, Kingsley. Happy to help. All the best for you as well. Okay, so let me go through GJ 5-minute. Let's see what is popping over there. Okay, wow. So that's just consolidation straight up. What do you say you're looking at the 5-minute for? For now, it looks like dead. Yes, I agree. Looking for a correction of yesterday's drop on the long side. Okay, so you're trying to take advantage of the drop here, expecting a bit more upside. Okay, makes sense. You know what? I wouldn't actually be adverse to actually taking some buys here, in terms of playing the range, because effectively, you more or less got the equal highs here, and effectively more or less get the equal lows here. So I would suggest, if price was to come back down again, taking some buys off the low of the range, although it might seem like a boring trade, buying the low of the range, selling the top of the range, but it can be very effective, especially if you're having that bullish bias, because if you do catch the trade right, not only can you swing it back to the high of the range, you can leave positions to run to potentially catch the breakout as well. And of course, it can turn into a really healthy risk to reward. So I would suggest looking to play the low side of the range if we were to come back down again. If not, let's see if we can get a nice break to the upside. And I want to see momentum as well. We had a really nice push to the upside over here as well. If you could see something like that to the upside over here as well, doesn't have to be as big, but as forceful would be nice. And that would be a strong indication that, okay, the buyers are already back in town. Some type of correction could come in, maybe in the New York session. And then you're looking for a continuation of that. And I would say I'd keep an eye on this low here as a target, or at least a place to manage a trade, because maybe we do form a lower high and do keep falling. You want to at least be able to manage a trade against that happening. And that would be a place where some sellers will be looking to get back into the market. So be careful of that. But yeah, I do think pound yen does have some room to the upside. And looking at the time frames that I look at, the 4-hour chart, we're in an area of support right now where I do think we can have a bit of a reaction anyway. So from a top-down perspective, a bounce does look pretty likely in my book. So yeah, I do second that. Okay, I'll go through Aussie CHF for Alvin. You said you're in a long position, or you looking to long? Do I hold for long? Okay, so you took a long position, and you're asking if you should hold that. 0.55871. 0.55871. Okay, so in some nice profit, I would expect. Yeah, I mean, Aussie CHF was actually a pair I was looking to short, but it looks like it's invalidating that short bias because it has broke back inside a colossal level of support, which is this area here. Because my thought process for Aussie CHF is that if we do break through the floor here, the next area I'm expecting price to end up is this low. And we did get the breakout. However, it was really half-hearted, didn't really see much momentum. And now price is trading back inside that level here. So if we do stay above this, there's actually a lot of upside we can expect, because again, this is pretty much another ranging market here, more or less equal highs over there, equal lows there. You wouldn't be too surprised to see a push, back into that area up there. So again, you want to have a plan with every trade you take. So should you hold, should you not hold, is always just a very subjective answer. And then in hindsight, you will know the answer of what you should have done. Should I have held, should I not? Which is just a really, really bad way to trade from a stress point of view and just consistency as well. You always will be second guessing everything. So the answer isn't really should you hold or should you not hold. The answer is, what did you plan to do? Did you plan to take profits here, or did you plan to do that, or did you plan to do this? If you didn't have a plan, then you can kind of just do the neutral thing, which is book some profits so you pay yourself, and then just trail a stop, because it could be a really big winner. It might turn against you. You don't know. If you didn't have a plan in place, pay yourself, and then just trail stops. That's what I'd say. But if you did have a plan, stick with that. Because again, I'm not a fortune teller. I can't tell you to hold because it's going to keep going up, or take profits because it's going to go down. I don't know. So what I can tell you is just stick to your plan. If you didn't have one, then book some profits and trail. Where was I? Okay, dollar yen will go through next. And then we'll go through NAS 100. Some indices. Yes, Ben, I'm still in EuroCHF. Happy New Year, Trader Benji. Right back at you, my man. Hope you're doing well. Yes, Ben, I'm still in EuroCHF. It's been a bit of a slow one, to be honest, but I am still in it. Yeah, I mean that is in theory how I trade, Azina. I do have a free course on with Elevating Traders. So if you go to the Elevating Traders website, if you look at the top, there is a section that says Academy. If you click on that, there's a free course, kind of explains how I trade, how I look at the market, goes through risk management, analysis, entries, exits, trade management as well. So check it out if you're interested. NG longs after taking London lows. Okay, nice. I mean, I'm still pretty bearish on GU, but I would expect to see a pullback at some point. So I'm guessing that you're looking to take advantage of a pullback there. No problem, Alvin. Happy to help. Okay, so let me go through dollar yen. So as I mentioned with dollar yen, very bullish. There's two setups which look like nice possibilities with dollar yen. Since the market structure is still bullish, we're still seeing higher highs and higher lows. Recently, the market broke some structure here to the upside. So the way I'm looking at dollar yen right now is either one or two things. Either the momentum we had over here is going to sustain. So we've had a big push, a bit of a pause in the market. Now we're going to see another push, and the market's just going to continue back to highs. Or we're going to have a bit of a breather. The market's going to pull back away, find some support lower down, and then push and form another major high low like we did over here. Another one over there potentially. We've got some nice confluence there. Brief pause in the market, strong push to the upside. Also lines up very well with the 50. So I would be looking for a retest of that area before anticipating more upside. So that's the trade I'm looking for. Whether price actually has a pullback or not that big, that's a different question. Um, like I said, we might just break to the upside, brief pause, and then continue as well. So those are the two setups I'm looking at. But all in all, I'm very bullish on dollar yen. We've had a really healthy rejection of some key support in the weekly chart. As we can see, lovely break through the level here. Really nice retest a couple of weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. And I do think there's a good chance we do push back to the high here. So the plan is, can I try and swing this back to the high? Can I try and tack it to the highs and trail some stops there? And the best trade setup I have for that would be this area here. But as I said, we might not see that pullback. So the next best bet is a break and retest at the high of 158. But that is really my plan there with dollar yen. Um, you not trade supply and demand? Not really. No, support and resistance is my forte. Of course, I'm aware of supply and demand and how it works, so I do pay attention to it during my trading. But it's not something that I exclusively look at. It's more like just an added confluence somewhere. But I have got my rules which I follow, and it's based around support and resistance. And if I can have a supply or demand that favors my bias as well, that's great as well. The more the merrier. But I focus on support and resistance. Okay, nice trader Benji. Yeah, like I said, I'm still pretty bearish on pound USD, so I still do expect lower prices, but I do want to see a pullback first, though. So hopefully that can happen. I've talked about this area here at 1.25, and of course, if it does happen, it will be a nice profit for you as well. But equally, hopefully we can see that pullback happen. So there's more opportunities to keep shorting this one because that's a really lovely drop yesterday. A lot of momentum there. You got two really big bearish candles there on the 4-hour chart, really illustrating that momentum is with the bears now, and we could probably see some lower prices. But yeah, the market is pretty stretched, so we'll probably do a bit of a pullback. And actually, looking at some of the USD pairs, we'll go to Aussie dollar as well. Yeah, we might actually be seeing some upside in these USD pairs. Again, I'm looking at this as a pullback. I'm still very bullish on USD, very bearish on the USD majors. But maybe it's time for a bit of a pullback. Dollar CAD, I've been very desperate for a pullback. To be honest, I'm looking for a pullback down here and just been ranging on me the past couple of weeks now. So maybe if we do see a bit of dollar weakness, that could help out my dollar CAD opportunity there. DXY looks like it's seeing a bit of downside, but again, I would expect it just to form a high low at some point and keep pushing. If we can get back to this range here at some point next week, I do think we'll just keep pushing to the upside, really. So yeah, it looks like it's time for some pullbacks. It does look like it's time for some pullbacks. Okay, same. I'll be shorting after. Nice. Um, so yeah, at the moment, I'll go through some indices. I'll go through NAS 100. I'll go through a bunch of indices. Haven't gone through them yet. Probably go through some crypto pairs as well, Bitcoin and Ethereum. Like I said, I'm currently just in Euro CHF. That's the only trade I'm in. I would have entered New Zealand CHF as well, but I'm already trading Euro CHF, so I don't want to double up the risk because they're very correlated pairs. Of course, both CHF pairs, most likely they will do the same thing. They'll both break down or not, or go up. But this is the only trade I'm in at the moment. So I'm going to see how that goes. There's nothing really else I'm looking at in terms of entries right now. I've got a few pairs on my watch list, which I'll go through at some point. I'll share my watch list at some point, but there's nothing I'm looking to enter today necessarily, apart from New Zealand CHF, which I'll have to give a miss on basis of risk management. Hey, what's up, Cease Integrated? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Good morning. Good morning. And don't worry, I'll take a look at the DXY and yeah, actually, I'll go through the indices. I'll take a look at the DXY, then I'll go through some of the crosses. Not doing pullbacks and not fade pullbacks. What do you mean by that? What do you mean fade pullbacks? Anyway, let's go to some NAS 100. So we had a bit of a move to the downside for the indices, I'm pretty sure, yesterday. Yes, we did. So I did say for NAS 100, I'm pretty bullish because market structure is still intact. We're still seeing consistent higher highs and higher lows. And again, market structure is my guiding compass. As long as market structure is in one direction, that's the direction I'm looking to trade in. Unless it's hit some specific areas where I would wait for the reversal. So if a market structure is bullish and it hit an area where I do expect price to turn, I wouldn't be looking to sell, but I should be waiting for that structure to shift bearish, and then I'll look to sell. But as long as the market structure is in one direction, that's the way I'm looking to trade, especially in a market like NAS 100, which just trends to the upside forever. Of course, we do have our bearish times, but it's not an FX pair where we change direction a lot. NAS 100, more often than not, is going to be pushing up. So with this one, lovely market structure. Looks like it's forming a bit of a double bottom here. I think this is a really nice place for a buy. Stops below the low. And I do think this is a nice place for a push to the upside. The only thing I don't like is that we were very aggressive with this move here. I like my pullbacks to be a bit more corrective and a lot slower. Those are the pullbacks that perform the best. From my experience, when we do have these heftier moves, they can still play out as well. The markets are not absolutes; it's always probabilities. But I've noticed that they don't tend to work out as often. But I like it because we have become a little bit more corrective. So yeah, as long as we can hold this double bottom low, I do expect to see a nice swing to the upside. As long as we stay above this low, I remain bullish for now for NAS. However, with US 30, we actually broke some structure, which has actually made me pretty bearish here. So we broke some structure here not yesterday. That was like 2-3 weeks ago. What am I on about yesterday? We broke structure a long time ago, but that made me bearish. Again, I'm still longer term bullish for US 30. Of course I am. The major high low is all the way down here. So that break of structure is not really significant in terms of the bigger move. It probably just means that we'll have a little bit of downside as price develops a little bit, but we'll probably end up rocketing to the upside at some point. But yeah, for now, we did break some structure. So yesterday I was speaking about some shorts on this area and a nice retest of that range and a really nice drop there, actually. And we haven't really seen follow through in terms of breaking the low here yet. So I would be careful in terms of the next best bearish setup for US 30. I would definitely wait for this low to break and then look for some more shorts underneath that. That would be the setup we'll be after in terms of the sells. Because we've broken structure, great. We formed a lower low. This looks like it could be the next lower high in this sequence. Of course, that being the high that broke the low. So this being our next lower high. But we need to see some follow through, aka breaking that low there to give us a lower low. Then we can speak about some lower highs and so on and so forth until that structure breaks and we return bullish again. But we're having some hard time. We're respecting support pretty well. So I need this break to come through, and then we can speak about some more shorts. But I'm not looking at buys at the moment with US 30 because, like I said, we broke structure, which makes me expect more downside at the moment in time. In terms of the S&P 500, this one's a little bit of both. because it sort of did break structure, but not confidently. US 30 was a very strong break, and it put to bed that market structure. Whereas S&P, we just about broke below with that close there, but more or less we're holding support as well. So again, in terms of sales for S&P, that's our first lower high. This looks like it could be our second lower high. But what I want to see price do in terms of the shorts anyway is break through more confidently, and then I'll be looking for the third lower high again for a drop. And if I expand to the higher time frames, it would just be a bigger pullback. This is our last major high low back in 2022. But it looks like at this point in time, we'll probably just have a bit of a correction before eventually, again, seeing some more highs. And that is the story of the indices for you. But yeah, I need to see some follow through if I'm going to keep looking to expect downside, because we need to keep creating lower lows and lower highs, and that's what keeps the market bearish. If we start stalling at lows again and bouncing, we could turn around. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the major US indices. Oh, okay. Yeah, I agree. So yeah, if USD, of course, if USD DXY is going to have a bit of a breather, then yeah, you're going to expect to see Euro, Pound, Aussie, New Zealand dollar all push up as well. But I just see it as a breather, really. I don't see it as a reversal. I'm looking at this weekly time frame as well. I'm gauging how the weekly candle is going to close. Still got 12 hours left before it does close, but to me, it looks like a really solid breakout out of this range here. So of course, you got your equal lows down there, equal highs more or less up there. This looks to me like a confident breakout of this range. So the next big level I'm looking at is 113. That's really my thinking right now, longer term with USD. So any moves to the downside at the time being, I'm expecting it to be a pullback, higher lows forming, and more upside. The only way I will look to invalidate that bias and become bearish longer term again is if I see a strong weekly candle close back below that same level of resistance. So this will become a big fake out to me. And of course, after that, I'll be speaking about some shorts and a big push back to the downside again. So very, very simple. You know, the market's either going to move up or down. So the only thing you need to do as a trader is have things in place that will keep you bullish, have things in place that will keep you bearish, and then trade. You know, at the moment in time, this breakout makes me bullish. So I'm going to be focusing on buys. And I know that if we are correct with this bias, a long way for us to go. That means risk reward is going to be good, and there'll be a lot of bullish opportunities, hopefully. So at the time being, really strong move to the upside yesterday. I just expect a healthy retracement as the markets do. We don't move in straight lines, of course. But as we approach 108.4, I do think there's a good chance for a bounce and a push, at least back to the high we came from, which would be, of course, this high here. So, of course, looking at Euro USD, looking at the exact opposite of that, a retest of that, back to the low. Pound USD, as we mentioned, a retest of that area back to the low. Aussie dollar, retest of these areas back to the low. And New Zealand dollar, retest of those areas. I've got a few, but those areas here, and then push back to a really big swing low on the daily chart, which is down here, 0.551. That's what I expect price to push towards. So, yeah, very bearish on these USD pairs. But hopefully we do have a bit of a pullback at the moment, because we are due a big pullback. Market has been very, very bearish. Okay, so I'll go through some of the crosses because I have neglected them a little bit. And then I'll go through my watch list as well, pretty much for next week, because this week is pretty much over. But yeah, for the crosses, there was two crosses I'll mainly focus on this week: pound Aussie and pound NZD for longs. Both haven't really set up how I wanted to. We spoke a bit about pound NZD, so I'll briefly go over that. But pound Aussie was the same situation as well. I was looking for price to come back into the low here, respect it, then see a nice little reaction to take this one back to the high, and hopefully some new highs there as well. Because again, if I expand to the daily chart, overall, do we have a lovely bullish trend? The only thing I didn't like about pound NZD and pound Aussie is the fact that we've taken out some major highs on the daily chart. So we're taking out a major high here, we're taking out another major high here. So it's always going to be difficult to look for continuation trades after we take up major highs. Reason being, there's a lot of liquidity above these highs here. So once we do take them out, there's always that possibility that price now has a bigger correction. Sometimes you see breakouts and we just fly. Of course, that's a possibility as well. But half the time price does revert back on itself. And I wonder if that is what we're getting with that strong close there in the daily chart. So I was looking for momentum plays yesterday, retest this area, more buys, but because we've had such a strong close there, daily's not looking too hot. Weekly chart, not looking great. That's looking like a nice bearish engulfing candle. I think I'm going to have to back away here from pound NZD and pound Aussie longs. And of course, pound NZD literally giving us the same information, very similar pairs too. I said I was looking for longs, but price needed to be back above this level here. At the moment, time is respecting as resistance. I'm not interested at the moment. And again, seeing a very strong close down the weekly chart too. So yeah, the buys not looking as good. We had a really strong sell-off yesterday, which I wasn't expecting, which has kind of thrown me off a little bit. If it was a bit more corrective and we were respecting that low, I would have looked for a setup, but unfortunately didn't get anything there. So yeah, I'm going to back away a little bit. Euro Aussie and Euro NZD, these guys just look horrendous, to be honest. These guys are not on my watch list at all, and I don't really have a bias really for them. I mean, look at this price action here. This looks absolutely horrendous. So yeah, I don't really have anything to say really to that, to be honest. Euro NZD looks a little bit better. It's still horrendous price action because we're still very sideways, but at least with this one, we're at the top of a range. So it makes things easier to digest because there's either one or two things are going to happen. You have a breakout or we don't, or we respect it and come back down. At the moment in time, it is looking like price is going to respect the high there very well. So I would be pretty bearish now for Euro NZD. I do think we can see a bit of a drop there. So even though price action is pretty chaotic, there's some clear highs, clear lows we can maneuver between, and because price is rejecting that higher very well, it does make me have a pretty bearish bias right now. So yeah, we'll look at more downside, not a market or a pair or a setup that I would normally trade, but at least I can actually have a bias here. Whereas Euro Aussie looks like a myth to me right now. And again, trading is not about understanding where the market's going to go all the time. Sometimes the charts are just going to be not clear. If they're not clear, don't trade. It's all about taking calculated risks in your favor and letting that edge play out. If there is no calculated risk in your favor, then you taking a trade is just obviously going to be a disservice to you. And there's no obligation as well to trade or to understand what the market's going to do. Pound CAD, yes, I'll go through the CAD pairs for you, Amarsana, no problem. What's up? Sets the die, welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Dollar C Chef, okay, we'll have a look see as well. I'll just go through the CAD pairs quickly, and then I'll take a look at Dollar C Chef for you. Okay, you're looking for some longs. Hey, what's up, More? Welcome back. Hope you had a good lunch. Hope you're well fed. Okay, so we'll go to, what pair is it again? Pound CAD. And then I'll take a look at Euro CAD as well. So yeah, Pound CAD, big drop to the downside. Really big drop. Wasn't expecting that. I mean, we were talking about the head and shoulder pattern, but I didn't expect it to happen so aggressively and so quickly. So we had some nice shorts here. We, of course, had the lovely left shoulder over here. You got your lovely head, right shoulder. Of course, this being your neckline there. And we were speaking about this. I did say yesterday that if we can get a nice drop, let me just move this out of the way. I said if we can get a nice drop of this support, there could be some nice shorts to follow through. I just wasn't expecting to happen so quickly and so aggressively. The main reason was because if we scoot to the weekly chart, you can see that the market's had so much trouble trying to break through this resistance here. There's so many wicks here on the weekly chart, price trying to break through, keep stabbing to the same zone. Had a really aggressive wick there a couple of weeks back. And overall, this 1.81 level has proven to be a very sturdy level of resistance. So my bias for pound CAD, although the trend was up, was looking for a reaction. But I've just said, if you look for shorts here for pound CAD, don't be too aggressive because the trend is still up and we could push to the upside at any point. But yeah, we had a really strong drop to the downside. The market's now put some nice lower highs in, one over there, second over there. So yeah, if we can get lovely correction, retest that structure, find the next low high in the sequence, I do think you can catch another low high. The trend is still bullish though, so in terms of targets, I wouldn't be too aggressive. Back to the low, I think makes a load of sense. Look to book some profits there. You can always leave some small positions to run if you want to. But until we start to break through some of these lows here, I know it's a long way away, but really we could have deep corrections and still continue higher up. So I wouldn't get too excited about the shorts just yet. Until we start taking out some of these lows, then yeah, the reversal is very much on, because this low still gave us a higher high. So that needs to go really if I'm going to look for a big reversal. But at the moment in time, market's still respecting structure very well. But yeah, we are forming some nice counter trend moves with some healthy momentum, I may add. Really nice momentum there, so I like that. So yeah, keep an eye on some shorts. At least another bearish leg to the low looks good. Just make sure the pullback's corrective or not flying to the upside impulsively, because that would ruin the setup. But yeah, I do think another drop looks good. And EuroCAD, I'm pretty sure had a big drop as well. Yeah, really big drop for this one, taking out some lows too. So is EuroCAD forming another lower high? Possibly. One high over there. Kind of got like a collection of lower highs over here. And potentially another lower high for a nice little double top pattern there as well. And maybe you're going to push back to lows, which is kind of this area of support potentially. I'm not a big fan of EuroCAD because it is quite messy, but because it does look like structure has been taken out. We took out the double top low there, and we took out this low here as well. So it does tell me that if we do push up, most likely again going to form a lower high, and then I'll expect another drop to the downside, and possibly this time back to lows. So that's what I'll keep an eye out for in terms of where. I'll probably keep an eye on this low here and expecting the drop there. Really impulsive move. Looks like EuroCAD does mean business. Same with pound CAD. It's always nice when you do have pound CAD and EuroCAD in the same direction because they're pretty much the same pair to an extent. So yeah, EuroCAD, pound CAD looking very bearish. And of course, we've spoken about Aussie CAD and New Zealand CAD, and I'm very bearish with those as well. Yes, I do want to see a bit of a pullback, but I still do see more downside. Same thing with New Zealand CAD as well. Do want to see more downside there too. So yeah, longer term, looks like I'm pretty bearish on the CAD pairs. Looking for upside on CAD itself, at least against Aussie, New Zealand, pound and euro. Maybe not so much against the dollar though. Dollar CAD, I'm definitely very bullish on. Okay, so next I'll go for dollar CHF for set to die. Sorry. Hey, what's up, Rizvan? Happy New Year to you as well. Appreciate the kind message. Hope you're doing well. Ooh, I had that this morning, scrambled eggs with avocado and toast. That's what I had, but tuna salad sounds good into a wrap. Ooh, that does sound good. That does sound good there, more. Pound cards. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that is unfortunate, man. That is unfortunate because you're in a nice place, and it has dropped since then. But that's the market for you, and that's electronic stop loss as well. That's the downside of using electronic stops, is that you can get wicked out. Oh, someone's trying to call me. Not now, but yeah, that's the downside of using electronic stops. You can get wicked out and see price, continuing in your direction. Of course, the benefit is that you don't take any major losses. Every loss is predefined, and you know exactly where you're getting out of. But yeah, I think if you do get stopped out and the setup still looks good, always keep an eye out for re-entries, because even though you might have been stopped out, doesn't necessarily mean that the market's not going in your predetermined direction. It might just be, okay, price wants to go up a little bit higher first before you do see the move you're looking for. So try to always stay aware of re-entries. Sometimes they don't happen and you just miss the move, that's trading for you. Or you can decide not to use stop loss, but that's always going to be a tricky situation as well. But yeah, I always use stop loss. Anyway, so dollar CHF, yeah, this one's been very bullish, hasn't it? Last time we spoke, strong close as well yesterday. Looking a bit bearish today, but I think we got some more juice in the tank though. Those are equal highs, equal lows. It does look like price just going to push back into resistance there. So yeah, with dollar CHF, I will be looking at more upside. I have spoken about the retest of the high, and I have spoken about the retest of this level here. Some nice areas to long from. Unfortunately, I haven't seen the pullback to those areas yet, but some really healthy areas. You've got the 0.5 and the 0.618 of the fib, especially this zone here, lining up very, very well. The market's just been so bullish. I mean, if I scale to the lower charts, we've been very consistent with the higher lows on the hourly, as we can see there. So as long as we keep that up, I do think price is probably going to form another one, another stab lower at the higher low, maybe this afternoon. And we try to continue higher. As long as we keep this up, I don't see structure changing. I'm very bullish on dollar. I do think we're going to keep pushing. And this is where I do expect dollar CHF to end up at before maybe we have our next big rejection. So if we continue with those lower time frame pullbacks, you're kind of looking at areas like there to take some longs. If we do have some deeper corrections, then you got some areas down here to take some longs as well. So it just depends what the market gives us. Sometimes the market will give you shadow pullbacks and keep ripping to the upside. Sometimes it will give you big pullbacks. And give you nice opportunities to swing. But at the moment, momentum looks like it's picking up. And if we do sustain that, might just have a slight pullback over the next few hours and continue maybe early next week. Okay. Nice. Yeah, again, not every trade's going to be a winner. Not every trade's going to be a winner. Some just have to be losers. That's part of the trading. Can't win all the time. That reminds me, I'm supposed to look at Bitcoin. I'll go through Bitcoin and Ethereum. Yes, I'll go through EuroCHF first, actually. So EuroCHF, like I said, is the market I'm currently trading at the moment. Just a little bit of sideways momentum, really. But the idea is that I'm looking for continuations back into the prior low. The market's been very, very consistent with these lower highs. The plan is, can I catch the next one over there, second, third, fourth, fifth, looking at number 6, and again, another spike into these lows. The market loves these spikes here, as we can see. So I'm looking to see if we can do that again and continue. If, of course, the market breaks structure here, I'll be out the trade at that point. I don't want to be in the sells anymore because that's a break of structure. And at that point, we're probably going to get a bigger pullback for Euro CHF, because I'm looking at 2 pullbacks similar to what we did with dollar CHF there. Either the pullback like this and we get the drop, or the second pullback, which if I go to I am on the daily chart, probably if I go to the weekly chart, see it better. Or the second pullback is if we get an extended pullback like this, a much deeper one, into an area like this, for example, see another lower high here, and then we may fall to the downside from there. Because if I expand to the monthly chart, you can see overall this market is still very bearish. So my plan is to keep shorting until proven otherwise, really. And it just depends what the market wants to do. Do we have those deeper pullbacks to this area? That could happen. Then I'll be looking to take shorts up there, try and take some big swings back to the low. At the moment, if I drop to the 4-hour chart, the market has been very consistent with these lower highs here. So my thought process is I'm looking for the next lower high in that sequence. As long as we don't break structure, which is this low high here, which we haven't done so far yet, that is what's keeping me bearish. So I've taken an entry on the reaction. They're a little bit late. It would have been nice to get a little bit earlier, but I didn't get any confirmations until then. It would have been nice if we can get the confirmation off that big wick, but it didn't really present, at least for my plan anyway. So I did find the entry there. had a nice reaction initially, but like I said, we're finding some support in the lower time frames and struggling to break through. So hopefully that can continue. I look to hold the trade over the weekend into next week. We'll see how that continues. But yeah, I am looking for the continuation at least back to the lows. And yeah, we'll see what happens after that. But yeah, that's really my outlook on Euro CHF. Again, not the, not the best pair in the world, but again, when I do get these opportunities on some of the more less traded pairs like Euro CHF, Aussie New Zealand dollar, they can sometimes be really good opportunities, but they do take a little bit longer to play on average. Okay, so I'll go through Bitcoin and Ethereum. Yeah, 100%, 100%. The price action here was something you just don't want to see in the market. You don't wish on anyone, really, not even your worst enemies. But did have a nice drop there. The market's seen some momentum, so hopefully we can push through. But it could be a situation where maybe we start to consolidate and then eventually like kind of does like a slow move like that. That'll be painful, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, still profitable, but painful to hold. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. Anyway, for BTC, is it still holding on to support? Yes, it is. So yeah, Bitcoin is still very bullish on this one. As long as we can hold support here, I remain bullish, looking for a continuation back to the highs, the all-time highs, of course. Then hopefully some new highs past that 110, 120, you name it. Who knows how far we can go. But equally, if that support level doesn't hold for all these wicks here, the next meaningful area I've got for Bitcoin is back down here at 73, 74K. So to me, this level is really, really important because if it doesn't hold, I think we do have a bit of a drop to go through with Bitcoin because there's no meaningful area of support below that area until we get here. Doesn't mean that price has to get there, but in terms of the technical analysis, that's the next best place to buy, at least according to the way I view the market anyway. So yeah, Bitcoin doing a pretty good job at holding to support. A lot of rejections. Haven't really seen that big momentum shift yet. Still kind of waiting for that. But yeah, if we can keep that up, I like the buys there. If not, then we'll look at the bigger pullback to 73, 74K. And then we can start to look for some longs again down here. But overall, still very bullish. On Bitcoin, Ethereum, this one looks a bit more awkward, I must say, because we've already broken through some support, which I don't like to see, especially after like a really aggressive double top at this high there. So Ethereum not looking great, I must say. Really aggressive double top, tested it once, came back again, respected it again. Then we end up breaking structure here, not a good sign as well. And of course, this is now going to be flipped as resistance. So as I said yesterday, maybe Ethereum has another stab into the zone, but I wouldn't be surprised if we do have another drop. So I would be careful with the buys. The only way I'd look for buys for Ethereum is if we have a strong break through this zone here, then maybe some buys could look good again. But unless we don't get that strong move breaking through that zone, if we do start just providing more wicks and more rejection in here, I do think Ethereum can have another drop, at least back to the low there. And potentially further as well. It's some major support down here. I wouldn't be too surprised if Ethereum does make its way there. So Ethereum not looking particularly good, at least in the most recent price action past few days. I still am a big believer that Ethereum can get to the all-time highs. But we might see a bit of a drop first before that happens. Nice. Well, I didn't know you trade platinum, but you did say that you're looking to trade kind of any market that has a good opportunity this year. Expanding the palette there a little bit. Yeah, 100%, Ben. I definitely agree. Negative swaps aren't great. Aren't great. That's really I would say the biggest con about swing trading is swaps. Because even though you can get positive swaps are great, but over the course of like a year, yeah, negative swaps always outweigh positive swaps. Yeah, which is always a pain. I mean, again, there's a lot of benefits of swing trading, but that is definitely a con. And what you don't experience intraday because you're in the trade and out the same day, there's no swaps for you. So that's definitely one big benefit intraday trading has over swing. But then again, if you're trading better pairs like Euro CHF's probably not the best pair to get involved, at least from a selling point of view. Buying, you will have positive swaps, so it'll be better. But Euro CHF does take its time. So in terms of positive swap, I feel like a yen pair will be a lot better, even though it might be a bit more expensive, but you can catch a really big move, 300 pips in a couple of days, potentially 3 days, and make decent risk rewards. And the swap is not going to take a chunk out of that. Yeah, of course, of course, of course. That's the thing with lower time frames, because you'll be taking much bigger lot sizes because of course you can have much smaller stop losses. So if you're risking 1% with a 100 pip stop loss versus 1% on like an 8 pip stop loss, it's going to be a lot different lot sizes, therefore a lot more commission. Of course, spreads will take into account as well if you're trading on the lower time frames, and you need that pristine execution, because if you're looking for like an 8 pip move and your stop and your spread is like 3 pips, well, that's taking 3 pips off your target there, not looking good. If your target's like 200 plus pips, and the spread is 3 pips, what's 3 pips to 200 plus? Very, very minimal. So spread's not going to be a big factor, and of course, news as well. If you get caught with news, like you said, with slippage, I can hold through NFP. Of course, I can still get slipped too, but if I get slipped, it's probably like I lose 1.3% rather than 1%. If you have like a 5 pip stop loss and you get slipped, that 1% could easily be 3 or 4, or even more than that as well. So there's pros and cons on both sides, and that's the theme of trading. There's pros and cons throughout every trading style. It's just about which one suits you the best, really. And then look at sources for the psychology. That's a good way of looking at it more. Not looking at it. I like that. But yeah, I mean, it's something to consider if you're looking at swing trading. But I think it balances out, because if you are intraday trading, there's other costs there that you don't really experience much in swing trading, like we just mentioned. So I think it does balance out in general. But then it does come back to your risk appetite and how you want to trade and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, swaps aren't fun, I must say. But yeah, at the moment, currently in your CHF, so we're going to see how that gets going. Like I said, there's a few other pairs I'm looking at, but nothing that I'm looking to take trade today necessarily. So everything's kind of next week. I will do my weekly analysis on the weekend as always. So if you are interested to see what my thoughts and opinions are going to next week, make sure you do keep an eye out for that video. It does come out on Saturday as always. Analyze a bunch of pairs and set the targets for next week. So look out for that video tomorrow. But guys, we have come to the end of the stream. I do really appreciate each and every one of you joining in, chatting with me, dropping likes on the stream. It does really help out. Of course, subscribing to the channel. That really helps out a million. So do really appreciate it. And if you guys haven't hit the bell as well, make sure you go and do that so you don't miss on any streams or uploads in the future. But guys, really do appreciate you tuning in. Hope you do have a fantastic day and a fantastic weekend, of course, as always. We'll be live again as usual from next week. No more holidays, so it's back to it. So I hope to see you guys then again, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. every weekday, UK time. So if you're free, make sure you pop in, say hi. But guys, appreciate you tuning in. Have a great day, great weekend, and I'll catch you all in the next one.